Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Here we are, the two of us.
Yep.
Aiden's busy. He's still doing that video that we're going to put on the Sports Edition. If you're not a member of if you're not subscribed to the Sports Edition, check out Office Bloke Daz Sports Edition video coming up where I play Aiden at college football on PS5.
Yeah.
So see how that goes. Some quite entertaining stuff going on, considering I've never played it before.
No, and he plays all the time.
And he plays all the time, yeah. A bit of Lawrence, Lost in a Pond. 4 furniture styles I only encountered after moving to the USA or to America.
Yeah, I wonder what that can be.
I'd never heard of a futon until we went to the USA.
Yeah. Just different. Now, do you know what I found funny though is the people who have the plastic on the couches.
Yeah, that was another one I found.
I've never seen that before
in my
life.
No, and then things like, I guess it's terminology as well. Like, remember when someone said it's a day bed, and I went, what even is a day bed?
Yeah.
You got a bed at night.
Yeah.
I just didn't get what a day bed was.
Yeah.
And I still can't remember what it was now. Do you?
It's like a pull-out sofa.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I just remember someone saying it was a day bed. I was just like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
It's funny how things get lost in translation like that. But let's see what 4 furniture styles only encountered after moving to America.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to furniture. Specifically, furniture that I only encountered after moving to the United States. And you might be thinking to yourself, Lawrence, are there lots of differences between British and American furniture? And the answer to that is no. Both countries have tables, sofas, rocking chairs, little footstools. And the truth is, in order to produce this video today and give you a listicle worth your time, I had to dig very deep into my memory banks, which have been forged over 16 years of living in America. And the more research that I did for this video, the more I discovered that not only were these pieces of furniture often invented in the United States, but have gained a following in Britain since I left. We're going to talk about that, but while watching this video, keep in mind this is my experience and nobody can take that away from me. Shut up, plane. So I hope, like me, you're sitting comfortably, and if you're not yet one of my big-time subscribers, do that now. In the meantime, let's talk about furniture that I only encountered after leaving Britain and moving here to the Midwest. I think it's important to start this video, just like with most videos where I talk about British versus American things, talking about some of the terminological differences between our two countries, and most of those seem to centre around sofas. What do you call a sofa? Now, many people in America, and I dare say people in Britain, will in fact use the word sofa, but you also hear in America the word couch. I would say even more commonly.
Oh, I've always used the word couch.
Yeah. Well, I think
growing up as a kid.
Originally I called it a settee.
No, I don't think I've ever used the word settee that much.
I never used to call it a couch, it was a settee.
I've always, since I was a kid, called it a couch.
Really?
Yeah, we always used that term when I was a kid growing up.
I was a bit posher than you.
Oh, you couldn't get any lower than me. If you were lower than me, you were homeless.
At least here in the Midwest, it's just quicker. One syllable. And while that word may well exist in Britain, we have some of our own terms for it. Where I was growing up in Grimsby, we used to call it a settee, which is terminology mostly associated with the north of Great Britain. But also in America, the word sofa, much like the word soda, has 1 or 2 regional synonyms. Some people call it a Davenport, even though a Davenport historically is a very specific type of couch. It's done what often happens in the linguistics of both countries.
It was another one, a love seat. I'd never heard the phrase love seat until we went to the USA.
That's just 2 seats, isn't it?
2 seats, yeah. But I've never heard of that neither.
No.
Countries where this very specific type of couch took on a more genericized meaning in certain parts of the country, but it's rare to hear it called that. Confusingly though, and equally historically, a Davenport in the UK was something entirely different, but nonetheless a piece of furniture. Can you guess what it was?
Table.
It was a sort of writing desk with lots of little drawers that could pull out of it. Not recommended that you sit on that. And so we get to our first piece of furniture, which in fact comes in the form of a bed, or I should say a type of bed frame known as a box spring. Now, there'll be some of my British viewers going, we have that in Britain. Yeah, I've learned that. Europe as well. But as somebody who grew up with slats inside his bed, everywhere I lived, I think, I can anecdotally confirm the kind of statistic that suggests that box spring beds are significantly less prominent in Britain than they are in the United States.
I've only ever had a box spring.
Same.
I never had a slat bread.
We have flatbread.
Slat bed.
we did have some slats overseas living, but when I first seen the slats on the bed, I was like, "What's this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where's the box spring?" And I didn't call it a box spring. I don't know what I called. Where's the base? I called it. Where's the base?
We called it a divan.
I don't know. I thought a divan was like. You're probably right with the right word, but I never use that word. I'm not going to call something. Do you have a divan? I'm not going. Divan's what you park. You know, you load your stuff into in the car park. Put it in divan.
No, we always had like drawers underneath.
No,
like the bed in and
we
stuff
haven't. Not me and you. We've got
Oh,
one.
no.
We've had one bed like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying as a kid, I had a single bed
Right.
with 2 drawers underneath it. That's where my bedding went.
Yeah, I've always had the box spring. Always. Even growing up as a
I
kid.
don't think we called it a box spring.
No,
though.
we didn't call it a bed with a base. It was the base.
It was just a bed.
Yeah, it was a bed.
Single
Where
or
they were
double.
invented, there's another plane. But the box spring bed is as American as apple pie, even though that was invented in England. And actually, it has a little known connection to the California gold rush of the mid-19th century. You see, there was this bloke called Tyler Howe, and he was a ship guy, and he was just sort of sailing around South America as you do, and I don't know, he must have looked at Instagram or something because he got wind of this gold rush happening in California, and so he actually sailed up toward California, much like all of the prospectors, except it didn't really work out for him. He found no gold, so he headed back to his home state of Massachusetts with very little money and a bad temper. But that bad temper was made even worse, I think, by the fact that on his journey in this ship, the bed frames, which apparently were just sort of wooden planks nailed to the bed frame, would be really hard to sleep on. I mean, even with a mattress, because whenever the ship had any kind of in-flight turbulence, or the equivalent of it but at sea, the movement of that foundation would transfer to the human on the bed, and it would be horrible and they'd get sick. And so he said to himself, Tyler, how can we come up with something that prevents this from happening? And so out of that came the first box spring bed. He invented it, tweaked it, and then became really rich. And the idea spread around America like bed bugs. And now we get to talk about porch swings. Because again, porch swings do exist in Britain, apparently. I found them on amazon.co.uk. But the big thing to mention here is their visibility to most people. And that's because porch swings, which typically you will find on actual porches on American houses, a lot of the time those porches will be at the front of the house.
Yeah.
So you'll be walking down.
Yeah, we don't have porches over here.
No.
We do have porches, but they're very different to a porch in the
Yeah, it's
USA.
got like a little door. And
Yeah, it's like a little entrance vestibule.
greenhouse.
Yeah, it's like a little entrance vestibule is what porch is over here.
Stupid.
But I'd call them a love swing over here. If someone says to me it's a love swing, that's an outdoor swing that fastens to like some kind of tree or a building or whatever frame. I don't know, that sort of like swings in your garden.
Yeah.
Be called like a love swing.
I don't call it a love swing. That's some sort of like sexual thing.
Down the street and you'll see somebody swinging away, drinking a beer. Accidents do happen, and that is not a visual that you'll see in the UK. Don't get me wrong, we drink plenty of beer, but we don't typically have porches on the front of our houses. The porches are usually reserved for the back garden. Also, I would add that not many back gardens are going to have them. I don't think, and this is just observation, this is my lived experience, I don't think porch swings are as popular in Britain as they are here. Number one, we don't have the weather for them commonly enough, and number two, given that we live in little miniature boxes, it could be possible that we just don't have the space for them. I was being sarcastic about the boxes. All that said, I have to give Britain its due. It might not have been as replete with porch swings as America is, but it can make the claim to have invented the modern swing, as in the thing that kids play on and sometimes fall off. This is attributed, in fact, to one British person in particular by the name of Charles Wicksteed, possibly the most English-sounding name ever. And he was in the news in the last 10 years because some people with a stake in the preservation of the history of the modern-day swing uncovered one of his prototypes, which they'd previously identified in a photo from the 20s, that's the 1920s. And this swing set is said to be the oldest in the UK, if not the world. So to my British followers, and perhaps even more so to my American followers, the next time you find yourself pushing your niece in one of these things, or indeed pushing her out the way so that you can use it, as has happened to me on many an occasion, spare a thought for Mr. Charles Wicksteed, who ultimately made this possible. I doubt he envisaged people using it while under the influence, but what can I say? I'm a trailblazer. And given my heralded status as a YouTube sensation, you could be forgiven for thinking that I do all of my editing from a hammock while sipping margaritas. But while that might be good for Instagram vibes, it's not so good for my posture, which is why I'm working with today's sponsor, Flexi spot. As somebody who spends 3 days a week editing, there is a temptation to spend the... From somebody who has strong opinions about armrests, as you'll see later in this video. But thanks to adjustable armrests. And that's not coming from a casual fan of armrests. That's coming from somebody who has strong opinions about armrests, as you'll see later in this video. But thanks to Flexi Spot, I can now alternate between my intellectual throne and my podium, otherwise known as a standing desk. The E7 standing desk, to be precise. With its incredibly pleasing elevation, the desk smoothly reaches a height suitable for somebody with long... E7, E7 Pro and E7L. The link is in my description below. From what I'm about to say, you might think that I have a bed fixation, and I do. But I also have a fixation with hiding places, and that's where Murphy beds come in. Sadly, I don't have a Murphy bed in my house to...
What do you think it is?
When he said hiding, I'm thinking it might be one that pulls down from the wall. Yeah.
Oh, pulls down from the wall?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's one where you lift the actual... The
bed up, the mattress and its storage underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking when he said hiding, it could be that, because that's the same, but I'm thinking one that lifts, you know what I mean, for like
like
small
caravans.
houses, and things like that, it just goes up against the wall. Oh. Yeah.
Show you, but I have been to a few people's houses that do have them, and Murphy beds are those things, you may have seen them in films like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that just fold out of the wall, and they're quite useful, I suppose, when you don't have a lot of space. And even though I thought that these were probably just something that were confined to the early 20th century, apparently they're pretty popular still across the United States, to the extent that they saw a resurgence during the pandemic because people were obviously at home a lot and they just wanted more space in their tiny apartment. And believe it or not, I read into this online, the same thing happened in Britain. And I, for one, am a big fan of that, and I bet the same is true of their inventor. But when the Murphy bed was invented, it wasn't just about prioritising space. It was about what that space was suggestive of. And in fact, the word suggestive is quite a useful one here. It has its roots in the sex life of a San Francisco man from 1900. And that man was named William Lawrence Murphy, no relation, because Lawrence was his middle name and spelled with a W. But this is according to the Smithsonian, who said that Murphy invented the Murphy bed when he was falling for a young opera singer. We've all done it. And courting customs at that time would not permit a lady to enter a gentleman's bedroom, so his invention allowed him to stow his bed in his closet, transforming his one-room apartment from a bedroom into a parlour. And I don't know about you, but coming from Britain, where the word parlour was perhaps a bit less prevalent within our parlance. Try saying that after 4.
You had a parlour, didn't you?
We had a parlour.
I'd never heard of that until I came to your house.
Yeah, see, we were posh. I don't know where it came from. Well, I know where the room came from. The room was part of the house. But it was just an extra room, and everyone called it a parlour. And I was like... And that's what...
I remember coming to your house and you said to me, "Do you want to come in the parlour?" It's like, okay, is that a euphemism?
Yeah, I don't know where the name came from or anything like that, but it was just our house came with a parlour.
I had a shower downstairs off the kitchen.
We're posh.
Or whiskies. Parlour to me already has connotations of rompy-pompy. Now, just a few years later, of course, San Francisco suffered a devastating earthquake. I hope Mr. Murphy wasn't in bed at the time, because I'm just picturing the poor chap, and maybe the opera singer, enveloped vertically by the mattress, which I suppose would be quite useful in an earthquake. And finally, the suspense has been building to this, my chairs. But not just any chairs. These are Adirondack chairs. And anybody who's walked around my neighbourhood in the last 2 months will have seen about 100 of these, because people like to put them in their yards, sometimes in their front yards. Even if they don't have a porch, they'll just stick them on that front piece of grass. I'm a little bit more reserved than that, and I've got them here in the backyard. But people who follow me on social media will know that I consider this to be among the 50 greatest American inventions of all time. And that's because I'm lazy. And there are 2 major reasons for that. Firstly, the armrests. They're massive. Look at this. I don't want my arms just sliding off the side, which happens with a lot of armchairs. But the other major thing is the seat itself is actually at a backward angle. So it's very hard to get out of unless you have long legs like I do. And I think that's part of its charm, because it's kind of like when I'm sitting in the living room with the cat on me. The cat gives me an excuse to not get up for 3 hours. And I feel like these chairs sort of do the same thing. And my wife understands that. So she'll tell me, "Lawrence, don't worry about mowing the lawn today, even though it looks horrendous. Kick back, enjoy yourself." What? No, I was just doing an impression of you. I don't need to tell you what I said, and also don't watch the video. Now, I'm pronouncing the name of Adirondack chairs as if I've been saying it my whole life, but actually, when I first heard of the word, I went through about 12 different permutations in my head, starting with Adirondack chair and Adirondack chair, and just, you know, in the end, I just had to hear it for myself and typed it into YouTube, only to discover that Adirondack is also a mountain range in upstate New York, and it's after that.
We've been to the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
It was Lake George. We stayed in up there.
Yeah.
Mountain range that the chair is named. But doing the research for this video, a coincidence popped out to me. They were invented, just like the Murphy bed, in about 1900. It's as if, as the 20th century began, America decided, you know what, we're going to experiment with just weird angles. And in this case, it was one American in particular, Thomas Lee, who was based in Westport, New York, which is just a short drive from the Adirondack Mountains. And they gained in popularity through a very unlikely source, and that unlikely source was tuberculosis sanatoriums. And that's because the armrests of these things, which for me are in the top 3 armrest styles in the universe, were positioned in such a way that it helped the chest of the person sitting in them to sort of open up, and so that they could breathe just that bit more easily. Nowadays, those armrests, of course, are used for not just your arms, but maybe a can of soda, which ultimately could lead to other health concerns. And so the respiratory benefit from them is handy once again. Of course, those of us who have rented over the years will know of another major difference between British and American furniture, which is that British apartments tend to be fully furnished and American apartments don't. Hence why I bought my own house. It's not the only reason. I wanted carte blanche to graffiti the walls. Anyway, thank you to my patrons who make these videos possible, especially...
Yeah, it's funny when you come across certain things, like you say, there was words there that, you know, the bed that comes down from the wall, the Murphy bed. I've never heard it called a Murphy bed.
No, I've just called it a pull-down bed.
Pull-down bed, yeah, that's what I'd say. It's a pull-down bed. Yeah, and that means it's in the wall or whatever it is.
They have them in like caravans, don't they?
Yeah, I've seen them in like small apartments, but I watch quite a lot of videos from like around the world, different places around the world that use like space saving stuff. And some people, the way they do them is just amazing. But some of the beds there are like pull-out beds or pull-down. I've seen one that pulls from underneath a staircase.
Yeah. I've seen it's like a wall and that spins around, and then it's a kitchen.
Yeah, some of the space saving stuff's amazing, but yeah, them beds. I don't know how you. The only thing that always gets on my mind about them is the bedding.
Yeah. Do
you have to take the bedding off before you put it back up, or do you leave the bedding on and put it back up?
No, it has straps. So you put you tuck your quilting all the way around your pillows, and then it's straps that come across the middle, and then straps that come down for the pillow. So when you just pull it down, you just strap it.
Right, okay, got you. Right, anyway, not for me. Got a bedroom.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.